Live from the studios of the Las Vegas Sun and Channel 8's Eyewitness News, this is News 1 at 9.
A recent study gave many working parents a sense of relief when it found kids in quality daycare adjust as well as kids who stay at home. But just what is quality daycare? We sent News 1's Lynn Stewart to find out.
Seeing lots of happy kids interacting with one another is one of the things that convinced Scott Gilbranson to bring his daughter to the Little Scholar Daycare.
Immediately when I walked in, it felt good. It felt like home. It felt as though the staff were family.
Child care experts say having a good feeling about the center is one of the first steps in selecting a quality daycare. But there are concrete things as well. At the very least, it should be licensed, and that license should be displayed so you can see it. When you visit the daycare, take a good look around.
One of the things you're going to want to look for when you walk inside your child's classroom are there lots of materials for the kids to play with, and are they age appropriate? But more importantly, we want to make sure that the teachers are down working with the kids, not talking at them.
A room that's set up to meet the needs of the children, that the children are the focal point in the classroom. It means that the children are cared for by attentive people who understand what they're doing, who understand that the behaviors they see are age appropriate and not misbehavior.
And the activities for the children should be hands-on.
Children at this age need to experience real materials. They will learn to count, they'll learn colors, they learn how to group things, all very important skills that lead to the later skills of reading and writing.
For the daycare to be quality care for your child, it must fit with your family philosophy, as well as your child's temperament.
Whereas one child might thrive in an environment with loads of kids and a lot of stimulation, another child might need a more quiet environment and more individualized attention.
So make sure your kid and the program match up. To get that individualized attention, there should be a low child-to-teacher ratio. Nevada State Licensing recommends for infants up to 9 months old, there should be a child-staff ratio of 4 to 1. For 9-month to 18-month-olds, it should be 6 to 1. For 18 months up to 6-year-olds, it should be 8 to 1. You should check out 3 to 5 daycares before you make your decision. All your hard work is sure to pay off.
It's well worth it in my mind. You pick up your child in the afternoon, and if they come to you smiling and fulfilled, then I think you've done a good thing and you're going to the right place.
Lynn Stewart, News 1.
Now let's talk about child care away from the daycare center. At home, this book, Parenting Infants and Toddlers Without Going Nuts, offers useful information for parents when they face stressful situations with their kids. The book's author is Marinakis, a family therapist who lives here in Las Vegas and whom we just saw in the story we just saw. And first of all, Maria, it is kind of become a cliche that, you know, parenting is the toughest job out there, and yet the one for which folks receive the littlest training. And you found that's true.
Absolutely. I think people expect that when they have a child that natural instincts will take over, and in some cases they do. However, there are certain situations that come up that parents have questions about. Am I really doing this the right way? Is this really the most effective way to handle this situation?
And on the other side of it, there are many books out there about parenting. What makes your book unique?
In my research and looking at other parenting books when I decided to write mine, what I found is that there's a lot of fabulous information out there. But unfortunately, it's usually in a huge book that's about the size of a textbook and sometimes the same interest level or reading level as a college textbook. Very technical, very time intensive. So if you have a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, you know it's difficult to even get to the bathroom, let alone read an in-depth book.
And your book is fairly thin. It's about 130 pages. What are some of the key points you want to make in your book, and do you make to parents?
I think the most important thing you could possibly do is build a healthy relationship with your child. And in today's hectic world of, you know, as we saw daycares and sometimes children being in daycare 8 or more hours a day, and parents rushing home, having to deal with dinner, household chores, getting the kids bathed and ready for the next day, a lot of times you miss spending some really good quality time just interacting, finding out how each other's day went, and just playing.
And you also mentioned in the book, learn to remove yourself from the situation emotionally, and don't always react in an emotional or instinctive way when Joey goes crazy.
Right. Which is difficult to do.
Yeah,
much easier said than done.
Exactly. How do you train parents to do that, to remove themselves from from a very stressful situation? You mentioned in the preface of the book how to deal with a 2-year-old who's screaming in the middle of a department store.
Right, which is quite common if you've been out on a Saturday morning to any of the local department stores. Part of that is preparation and planning and structuring, and that is sitting down and talking with your child about the expectations, how you expect the child to behave, and perhaps offering a reward for good behavior after the fact. If you find yourself in the store and that didn't help and the child is going wacko, you have to do what you really don't want to do, and that is absolutely ignore the child, not looking at the child, not paying any attention, not continually nagging the child.
Maybe asking other people,
stop.
Whose kid is this?
Possibly, although that's not recommended in the book. That could be in your book.
Now, how about a lot of parents wonder about spanking, about corporal punishment. What do you think about that?
I maintain that it's each parent's personal decision to make. However, my stance that I make in the book is that many of the parents who proclaim that spanking is a useful tool would highly object and sometimes get violent when I suggest, well, what would you do if during an individual session with your child I told you I couldn't control him, so I had to spank him? And so they react quite violently, and so my comeback to that is, well, if you expect me to get your child to follow directions without spanking or any other use of force, and I can do that, and I can teach that to you, then why would you continue to spank anyway? And
you make the point that you can teach kids to behave well without using force.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about, you've got a book signing coming up here in town tomorrow. Tell us about that.
Yes, we'll be at Borders bookstores in Green Valley. That's at Sunset and Stephanie from 2 until 4. So we'll do a short presentation, about half an hour, and then I'll be available to sign books and answer whatever questions people have.
All right, Maria. Very interesting. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.